Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a fortune teller transformation for all of you. This is going to include some normal makeup and some special effects as well. So if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, then just let me know and hope you enjoy the video. To start with, you're going to need a mould. I made this one myself, but you can buy pre-made ones online if you want to. I'm going to spray some thin layers of MAC wax all over the mould. This is basically to grease the mould like you would do if you're making a cake, so this prevents the prosthetic from sticking to the mould. Then you're going to take some cap plastic, which is what's used to make bold caps. You're going to mix that with a thinning agent. Depending on the type of cap plastic you use, you'll either need acetone or 99% alcohol. Mine needs the alcohol, and you're going to mix them together to make a thin solution. Then you're going to take a sponge and you're going to sponge on a thin layer of the solution all over the mould. Wait a minute for it to dry and then repeat until you have at least 3 layers, maybe even 5 depending on the type of prosthetic that you're doing. Then take your silicone. I'm using Pro-Gel 10. You have to make sure that the numbers on the silicone tubs match up or it won't work. You'll need 3 parts, A, B and either softener or deadener. It's the same thing, I call it deadener, so D. Make sure that you have separate spoons and cups to keep parts A and B away from each other, as when they're mixed they react and the mixture will set prematurely. Take some digital scales and make sure they're set to grams. Add the A cup to the scale and press tare to reset the scale, which should now read 0 grams. Start pouring in your silicone. I use 20 grams of each part A and B, but I definitely could have gotten away with just using 10. When working with silicone, your A and B parts should be of equal measure. The measurements must be precise or it will throw off the mixture and the prosthetic may not set. I'm pouring B and D into the same cup as they don't cause one another to set. Pour out 20 grams of B, press tare again, and then pour out 6 grams of deadener. Deadener adds softness to the prosthetic, so if you want more stretch and movement to your prosthetic, then you can add more. Once you're ready, mix together the A and B/D parts. At this point, your silicones will begin reacting, so you have about 5 minutes of working time after this before the mixture begins to set. If you want to add a colour to your prosthetic, then you can use a silicone pigment and add it at this point, and make sure that the silicones are mixed thoroughly. Pour the silicones into your mould and using a flat utensil, I'm using a mixing palette, wipe over the top of the prosthetic to get rid of excess silicone. Take a clean cotton bud and use light swiping motions to wipe away silicone in a ring around your prosthetic. This is where you'll be able to blend the edges of the prosthetic into the skin, so try and get it as close to the prosthetic as possible. Leave the prosthetic to dry for around half an hour and then tap gently to check that the prosthetic is dry. If it is, go ahead and add 3 more layers of the cap plastic solution that you used earlier, remembering to allow the solution to dry between layers. This normally takes about a minute. The next step is optional, but if you're going to be transporting your prosthetic anywhere, then it's quite essential. Take a hot glue gun and make a ring around the edge of the prosthetic, making sure that the nozzle of the glue gun isn't too close to the prosthetic so it doesn't melt. When the glue sets, it will prevent the prosthetic from stretching during transit. Now to get the prosthetic out of the mould, you'll need to powder it to take away the tackiness and stop it from sticking to itself. I'm using the RCMA no colour powder, but you can use any kind of colourless powder or even talc. Powder the top of the prosthetic and then start to peel away the prosthetic from the mould just around the edges, and use a small makeup brush with some powder underneath every bit you peel up until the whole prosthetic is out of the mould. You now have yourself an encapsulated silicone prosthetic ready to be applied. Now for application, start with a freshly cleansed face. Add the skincare that you want, but avoid applying it to the area that you want the prosthetic on, as it will prevent the adhesive from working as well. In this case, I'm applying the prosthetic to my forehead, so I'm avoiding that area with my moisturiser. I'm using Pros-Aide to adhere the prosthetic to my skin. So I'm going to pop that all over my forehead and also onto the back of the prosthetic. I'm applying mine using a cotton bud. With Pros-Aide, you want to wait for the glue to go completely clear before you pop it on, as this is when it's at its tackiest. And then I'm just going to press it on firmly to the skin. To blend out the edges of the prosthetic, I'm using a cotton bud and 99% isopropyl alcohol, and I'm doing it in a firm rubbing motion, rolling the cotton bud as I go along. And here comes one of probably what's going to be many of my mother's unplanned cameos on this YouTube channel. So now that the prosthetic is blended out, I'm going to go ahead and put on some foundation that's going over the prosthetic and all over the face as well. I'm using like a little flat top buffing brush, and the foundation I've gone for today is the Dior Forever Undercover, and I've chosen this because it's a water-based foundation, so it's not going to mess with the adherence of the prosthetic at all. For concealer, I am again using the L'Oreal Infallible, and you're just going to pop that underneath all of your eyes, all three of them, to highlight and brighten, and then just a little bit down the centre of the face as well. And I'm just using a little concealer brush to buff this out. To set the face, I'm using my Fenty Beauty powder in Butter again, and I'm just taking it lightly on a powder brush and dusting it all over where we've put the foundation and the concealer. Now for bronzer, I'm using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer on a big fluffy natural fibre brush, and I'm just dusting that underneath the cheekbones and on top of the forehead as well to add a little bit of colour back to the face. Now I'm going to go ahead and contour with a slightly darker, more cool tone shade, and I'm going to be using a smaller, more defined brush to do this. I'm particularly doing this underneath the cheekbone and on the nose. Now it's time to move on to the eyes. Today I'm using the Morphe James Charles palette. First of all, I'm going in with the black shade, just on a flat shader brush, and I'm taking it all over the eyelid to try and get as much opaque black colour as I can. Don't forget to take that black colour onto your third eye as well. Pretty much everything that we're going to be doing on our normal eyes, we're going to be doing on this bad boy as well. Now, as you can see, I have taken that black eyeshadow and kind of winged it out a little bit for more of a dramatic effect, and I'm also drawing it in a line above and underneath the third eye. I'm now taking this dark purple shade from the same palette on a fluffy blending brush and trying to blend out the edges of that black colour in the crease. I'm now using that same purple shade on the same brush again, just to blend out the black colours on that third eye. Now I'm taking the hot pink shade from the palette on another fluffy blending brush, and I'm using that to blend out the purple that we've just placed down, and again help to blend out that black a little bit. I'm now just taking that black shade again and running it underneath my eyes to add more of a bold, dramatic effect to the eye look. I'm now just taking those pink and purple shades again and using it to blend out the black that we've just put down underneath the eyes. Now I just wanted to point out that obviously I have gone underneath my eyes with a little bit of that black again and just traced a line. At this point I'm just taking a shimmery purple shade and putting that in my inner corner, and then going over the top with a shimmery baby blue colour as well. I'm just going to dip into some more of that hot pink shade and trace over those black lines that I've done underneath my eyes. Now I'm just taking the brightest blue from that palette on a big fluffy crease brush, and I'm using that to kind of blend and smudge out more of the pink and the black underneath the eyes. When doing this step, don't forget to do your third eye as well. For the brow area, I'm just taking some of the hot pink and the dark purple shade on a fluffy brush again and running them kind of through my eyebrows, so there's no gaps in between where the eyebrows begin and the eyeshadow ends. Now I'm taking a black liquid eyeliner just over where we've put the black on the eyelid, and this is just going to help to reinforce the opacity of the shade. And we're just going over the black eyeliner again with a little bit of black eyeshadow, almost just to set it in place. At this point I decided to add some more of the colourful shades on the third eye area, so you'll see me take in some more of the hot pink, the dark purple and the blue and just kind of smudging them out, making them really nice and messy. Now I'm just adding a little bit of the Suva Beauty Hydra Liner in the shade Freezy onto those lines that we've drawn underneath the eye and around the third eye area, just almost as a little bit of a highlight. And here you see me thinking, where the hell do we go from here? So at this point I decided to take a black coal and put it all in my waterline and in my tight line. Now I added some strip lashes to the third eye area. I added some on top and then afterwards I decided I needed some underneath, but that comes a little bit later. Now you're going to see me pop in some of the Makeup Forever eyelashes onto my own eyes. These are some black spiky lashes that are really winged out on the corner and they've got silver glitter on top. I thought they'd be a lot more impactful than they actually were. If I were to do this look again, I'd go in with some really big fluffy black eyelashes, but unfortunately I didn't have any of these in currently. Now for the last stage of the makeup, I'm just taking a small lip brush and on the lip brush I've got some hot pink creme finish lipstick and I'm just overlining my top and bottom lip and filling it in with the same colour. Now that the lipstick is complete, I'm just going to go ahead and style this look and I will be right back. So everyone, this is the finished fortune teller look. If I were to do anything differently, as I said before, I'd definitely pop on some different eyelashes and to be honest I'd probably just style my own hair. I had a feeling that the wig was going to look banging with this look, but it just kind of reinforces the fact that I should never be allowed to dye my hair dark ever again. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and were able to learn a little bit more about the special effects processes. This one was relatively simple, but if you want to see anything a little bit more complex, then please do let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye!